Hi, Carlos.
Hi, Stuart. How are you?
How you doing? Yeah, good. Thank you. Yourself?
Long meetup that we have right here. Long meetup that we have right here, right? Uh, but but really awesome what we just saw about Thomas with the racer and the first thing about Cognito
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Alejandro.
It,
That's
it was
really
great.
awesome. It was like learning.
It, it was really good to see the kind of configuration of how it worked. It's the first time I've seen the console and the kind of inner workings of Deep Racer. So it was really interesting. It was really good to see. Really good.
Thank you. And welcome, of course, to AWS Group Peru. We are really inspired of what you are doing about your book. Please tell us about yourself when you're ready to present, of course, and introduce what you are actually doing. You're working right now in Cloud Academy. It's it's an excellent top company just for training, for AWS training and other cloud services also. So it's really great, and thank you for being here and share your knowledge and your expertise in security. So talk a little bit about what we have the agenda for today and about your book and this excellent giveaway that I'll be talking about all this week. I think our audience is just excited about hearing this giveaway of your book that is really awesome.
Yeah. No worries at all. So again, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. And so yeah, as you say, I work for Cloud Academy as the AWS content and security lead. So my main role is to create online courses, training courses focused on AWS and kind of cloud as a whole. And at Cloud Academy, we have build certification tracks for all the different AWS certifications with assessments, quizzes, hands-on labs. So we kind of do it across the board there. My involvement, I've been there for 4 years now, and it's a great company. We've got a great team. We have a lot of fun, and it's just a really good way for me to be able to share my knowledge and just kind of get out into the community, because I love teaching, I love sharing knowledge, and that's kind of why I wrote the book as well. It's just another medium to allow me to share the information that I know and what I love to do into a book and just push it out just to help people with their certifications and just kind of teach, which is what I love doing. So yeah, that's a little bit about me and what I do at Cloud Academy. So the topic today is going to be very focused on KMS, the key management service. So I'm kind of ready to jump straight in if you're good for me to present.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Please present your screen, and I will let you
Okay.
start your presentation. Thank you.
No worries. Just bear me 1 second. Okay.
I'm gonna say something in Spanish just quickly, and muchachos, estén atentos porque vamos a hacer un sorteo al final y estén atentos porque pueden haber algunas preguntas relacionadas con lo que vamos a escuchar ahora a Stuart, y al final haremos el giveaway de 5 libros, así que atentos a ello y por el chat vamos a estar escribiendo al respecto, ¿sí? Okay, Stuart, the audience is yours.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. So again, hello, and hello to everyone that's taken the time to connect today. It's great to have the opportunity to speak to you. Like I say, this session is going to be very focused on the workings of the AWS Key Management Service, known as KMS, and how it's used to help you protect your data on AWS through encryption. I just want to apologize for my voice as well. I'm kind of losing my voice a little bit. I got a little bit of a cold coming. So if it does drop off a little bit, I do apologize. Okay, so a quick introduction about myself. I kind of introduced myself a moment ago anyway. So as you know, I'm the content and security lead for Cloud Academy. I've created over 90 courses for Cloud Academy. over the past few years and taught over 100,000 students. And I was recently selected to be a part of the AWS Community Builders program as well. As you mentioned, Carlos, I've just published a new book on the AWS Certified Security Specialty. So it's pretty fair to say that my head is fully in the clouds of AWS. So there's a few things I want to cover today, starting with an overview of the AWS KMS service. Now some of you might be familiar with KMS already. Others might not be so much. So I just want to draw a baseline on the service before I start diving deeper into it during the session. I'll then take a look at some of the different components that AWS KMS has. These being the customer master keys, known as CMKs, the data encryption keys, known as DEKs, and during this particular section, I'll briefly explain how both the CMKs and data encryption keys are used together to implement encryption on S3 using S3's server-side encryption using KMS managed keys, which is known as SSE KMS. I shall then give an overview of the key policies used by KMS, which are so important to help you understand how to restrict the usage of your keys within KMS, because that's very kind of fundamental to understand how to restrict usage as to who can do what with your encryption keys. And then finally, I'll take a quick look at KMS grants as well. And then once we've established an understanding between all these different elements, I'll then give a quick demonstration to show you how you can share your CMKs between multiple accounts, because in pretty much everyone is using multiple AWS accounts in a production environment. So this is something that you might need to do to help you share your CMKs for your data. So firstly, we're going to look at what is KMS. Basically, the KMS service is used to store and generate encryption keys that can be used by other AWS services and applications to encrypt your data. So it really is a fundamental security service offered by AWS to help you manage your cryptographic operations throughout your accounts and your environments. Now, there are different types of keys used within KMS, which perform different roles and functions. And I'll go into detail on these as we go more through the session on the following slides. And I'll cover in particular the customer master keys and the data encryption keys as well. Now, due to the nature of KMS, the contents of KMS itself contains keys which protect highly sensitive data that you have. So it's down to us as the customer to ensure that we protect them with the correct level of security through the use of key policies. Now, we must control who has access to your keys and also the cryptographic operations that can be performed with those keys. It's not down to AWS to ensure that your keys that you use for encryption are protected. That element is governed by yourself through the use of key policies. So that kind of reinforces why you really need to understand how that element works. Now, as a result, administrators at AWS do not have access to your keys within KMS, and they cannot recover your keys should you delete them. All they do at AWS is simply administer the underlying operating system and application that KMS runs on. It's also important to understand that the KMS service is used purely for encryption at rest. It's not an in-transit encryption service or protocol like SSL is. And when working with encrypted data, compliance and regulations are often very tightly integrated. So as a result, KMS works seamlessly with AWS CloudTrail to help you audit and track the usage of your encryption keys, how they're being used, who's using them, and in addition to capturing other data such as source IP addresses, etc. And the CloudTrail logs are stored in S3, and they also record the KMS API calls such as decrypt, encrypt, generate data key, etc. Now, when architecting your environment for encryption and using KMS, you need to be aware that AWS KMS is not a multi-regional service. So if you create a key in one region, it can only be used in that region. You cannot copy a CMK key to another region once it's been created. So that's something to bear in mind. Okay, so let's now look at some of the components of AWS KMS, and there's 4 that I want to talk about today. So these are the customer master keys, the data encryption keys, the key policy, and also grants. So let's start off by looking at the customer master key, the CMK. Now this is the main key type within KMS, and it contains the key material that is used to encrypt your data. So without a CMK, without a customer master key, you have no encryption capabilities. And there's 3 different types of customer master key as well. And it's important to know the difference between them. We have customer managed, AWS managed, and AWS owned. And on the next slide, I'll be diving into the differences between each of these to give you more of an insight as to what they offer over each other. And the customer master key, the CMK, it never leaves the confines of the KMS service. It's created within KMS and remains within KMS at all times. But the customer master key can generate data encryption keys, and these DEKs, they can leave the KMS service, and they can be used by your own applications or other AWS services to implement encryption. So let's take a look at the first CMK, which is the customer managed CMK. Now, these keys offer the greatest level of flexibility and control for you. Unlike AWS owned and AWS managed CMKs, you have total control and governance over these keys. You're able to create them, disable them, delete them, edit the key policies associated with your key, and also configure grants from your key as well. And you can also adjust and alter the key rotation periods and view the full audit history of that key since it's been created. Now, these keys can be used by other AWS services that integrate with KMS, and there's a lot of services now that integrate with KMS for encryption. And many of them, it's very easy to encrypt your data. It's often just a tick box as you're going through configuring the service to say, yes, please encrypt my data. It'll be a tick box and you'll select a CMK and that'll be pretty much it. So it's very tightly integrated with a whole wide range of AWS services now. Due to the flexibility of the customer managed CMK, there is an additional charge for using customer managed CMKs, whereas for the other 2, the AWS managed and AWS owned, that there is no charge. It's not much, I don't think. I think it's only $1 a month for every customer managed CMK that you create, and then a very small charge for how many times it's called upon. So it's not much at all, but there is a charge to it. Now, next we have the AWS managed CMK. So the AWS managed customer master keys, as the name suggests, they are managed by AWS. However, you are able to view the keys that are being used to encrypt your data from within the management console, in addition to being able to audit and track their usage and view their key policies, but you can't edit their key policies. And also, because they are managed by AWS, you're not able to control the rotation frequency either. So these keys are created and used by AWS services that integrate with KMS directly, and they can only be used by those specific services. Now, you can identify these keys within those services by their alias. For example, if you was encrypting within EBS and you wanted your EBS volumes encrypted, and you selected, yes, please use KMS to encrypt, the alias would be AWS/EBS. It's very easy to identify their alias name. Now, finally, AWS owned CMKs. Again, these are used by AWS services to encrypt your data, but you can't see these keys within the KMS console or anywhere within your account. and neither do you have the ability to audit or track their usage. That pretty much abstracted from your AWS account entirely. However, because they can be used by services within your account, those services do have capabilities to use those keys to encrypt your data within the account. When it comes to rotation of AWS-owned CMKs, it's down to the particular service that manages that particular key to manage that rotation period. So it will vary from service to service. Now, to help you understand the difference between the AWS managed and AWS owned CMK, an example of an AWS owned CMK, remember this is kind of abstracted from us as the customer, would be the Amazon S3 encryption using the S3 master key. So if you go to encrypt an object using SSE S3, it doesn't give you an option to select a CMK. It's just a tick box to say, yes, please use this option and encrypt my data. And we don't know anything else about it. So as you can see, that's abstracted. Whereas if you used SSE KMS to encrypt your data, then you would be able to select a CMK. Also, another option, example of an AWS owned CMK would be the encryption that's used for Amazon DynamoDB tables by default. And there's no option to disable this encryption. So again, when your DynamoDB tables are encrypted, it's done by an AWS owned CMK. You don't have the option to select a specific CMK to do that. Okay, so now moving on to data encryption keys. Data keys are created by custom master keys, like I explained earlier. However, they do not remain inside of the KMS service like the CMKs do. Instead, these are used outside of KMS to perform encryption against your data, either in your own applications or by another AWS service. So when a request to generate a data key is received by KMS, the associated CMK in the request will create two data encryption keys. Now, one of these will be a plain text data key, and the other one will be an identical key, but that will be encrypted. Now, the process of using one key to encrypt another key is called envelope encryption. And during the encryption process, the plain text data key will be used to perform the encryption of your data when used with an encryption algorithm. And once the encryption has taken place, the plain text data key will then be deleted and the encrypted data key will be stored and associated with the encrypted data. Now, at this point, your data is now encrypted, and the only way to access this data again is to request for the encrypted data key that's stored with your encrypted data to be decrypted by the CMK. Now, to demonstrate this concept and to make it a little bit easier, I would just want to show you how CMKs and DEKs, data encryption keys, are used when using the encryption process in S3, known as server-side encryption with KMS managed keys. Now, you can see at the top here, we have the encryption process and also the decryption process. So let's run through the encryption process first to see how this would work. So we have a client that's uploading an object to S3. At this point, the client says, I want to encrypt my data using SSE KMS. So then S3 requests data keys from the KMS CMK that's been selected. Now, at this point within KMS, it highlights the CMK that was chosen for the encryption, and it generates a plain text data key plus an identical key that's encrypted. Now, these two keys are then sent outside of KMS. The CMK remains in KMS because that will never leave, but the data encryption keys are sent back to S3. So both the plain text key and the encrypted data key. Now, at this point within S3, it takes the uploaded object data and the plain text data key that it received from KMS, puts it through an encryption algorithm, at which point the object is then encrypted, and the encrypted data key that was also received from KMS is stored alongside the object. At this point, the plain text key is then removed from memory. So during the encryption process, the encrypted data key that was generated by the CMK isn't actually used to perform any encryption. It's just stored alongside the encrypted object. The key that actually performs the encryption is the plain text data key. So now we have our object encrypted. What's the process for decryption? So again, we have the client requesting the object through S3. At this point, S3 identifies that the object is encrypted, and it sends the encrypted data key to KMS. So this is the encrypted data key that was associated with the encrypted object. So it sends that over to KMS. KMS then takes that encrypted data key, identifies the CMK that generated it, puts it through an encryption algorithm, and generates a plain text data key. At this point, the plain text data key is then sent back to S3. So S3 now has the plain text data key plus the encrypted object. It runs through an algorithm and decrypts that object. At this point, the plain text data key is then removed from memory. Once the object is decrypted, it is then sent back to the client. So that's how SSE KMS works using CMKs and data encryption keys. Now, I have this image here. I've generated this infographic for all 5 of the KMS encryption methods. So, and this is the link to it down here. And I'll briefly show you that just before we go into the demonstration as well. So if you go to that link, then you can access an infographic like this, but for all 5 of the different encryption mechanisms that S3 uses. Okay, key policies. This is a fundamental part of KMS. As you might have guessed, these are used to determine who can do what with the key. For example, defining who can use the key to perform cryptographic operations such as encrypt, decrypt, generate data key, etc. In addition to those who can administer the CMK to perform functions as deleting, revoking, and importing key material. Now, with many services that you use with AWS, you can control access using IAM policies and simply use IAM policies alone. For KMS, however, this is not the case. In all cases, to manage access to your CMKs, you must use a policy. You must use a key policy. Without a key policy associated with the CMK, you will not be able to use it at all. So there's a number of different ways in which you can control access to your keys in KMS using the key policy. And these being via key policies only, via key policies with IAM, and via key policies and grants. So you can see there that you have to have a key policy to manage access to your CMKs. So this is the first option, access via key policies only. As I mentioned, the key policies determine who can do what with a key, and these functions are split between key administrators and key users, and this is in every key policy. On the left, we can see key administrators and the actions that they can perform, such as create, enable, revoke, disable. They're all administrative level actions. But note that administrators are not actually able to perform any cryptographic functions. On the right-hand side, we have users of the key policy, and the users identified in this section of the policy can perform cryptographic functions such as encrypt, de-encrypt, generate data key, etc. Now, you might be thinking, and this is an interesting point, that although key administrators do not have access to use the key, they do have access to actually update the key policy. So they could, in theory, add themselves as a key user. So that's just something to bear in mind. Now, next we have access via key policies and IAM. Now, every time a new CMK is created, a customer managed CMK, the root of the account in which the CMK is created will always have full access to the CMK within the key policy. And this actually provides 2 benefits. Firstly, it ensures that you'll always be able to have administrator access to the CMK because the root account can't be deleted. And secondly, it actually enables you to use IAM policies to grant access to the CMK for both key administrators and users. And you can see in the statement ID at the top, the SID, it actually reads enable IAM user permissions. And this is automatically entered by KMS when you create the key. So without this section within the key policy, it would not be possible to use IAM permissions to grant access for other IAM roles or users to your CMK. And then finally, the third option is using key policies with grants. Now, grants effectively allow you to programmatically delegate your permissions to another principal or user. And so the grant consists of two parties: the user who creates the grant and the grantee, which is the person that is granted the permissions to perform cryptographic operations. But bear in mind that the permissions given to the grantee can only be equal to or more restrictive than those associated with the user who issued the grant. Now, for a user to be able to create and revoke grants, they must have the following permissions that you can see on the screen, either within the key policy or within an IAM policy. And so they need KMS create grant, KMS list grants, and KMS revoke grant. So as we already know, just touching on grants, the grants allow you to delegate your permissions between two people. Another point to make is that it's not possible to create grants from within the AWS Management Console. They are programmatically created. And so you can use the AWS CLI instead. So as an example, which is in the yellow box there, this command will simply create a grant against the CMK ID for the principal Alice, and it assigns the encrypt and decrypt operations. And the result of this command will generate two items, a grant token and a grant ID. And this can then be used again programmatically to perform encryption and decryption operations by Alice. So just before I run into the demonstration, what I'm going to do, I've got two AWS accounts. So I'm going to share a CMK from one account with another account, and we're going to update the key policy to do this. So to start with, in account A, I'm going to quickly create a new customer managed CMK. From then, I will then edit that key policy, allowing a user in account B access to that CMK. I will then swap over to account B, where that user resides, and I will try and encrypt, upload an object to S3 using the CMK, and initially it will fail because they don't have their IAM permissions to allow them to do that. I will then add an inline policy to that user, allowing them permissions to use that CMK in account A, and then test the encryption again. And hopefully it should work. So let's take a look. So one thing I just want to say when sharing CMKs between accounts is that the key policy in the first account will give external access for users in the other account. The IAM policy has to be used to delegate the key policy permissions to its user that was given in the CMK. But let's go through and give this a go. Hopefully the demo works. So this is account A. So this is where I'm going to create a new CMK. So from here, I just go to the key management service. You can see I've got a lot of CMKs created here already. I'm in the customer managed keys. Just to show you quickly, here's some of the AWS managed keys. And like I explained earlier, here's the alias. It's always a prefix with AWS and then a slash and then the name of the service. But we're going to create a customer managed CMK and then share this, because you cannot share AWS managed keys between accounts. You can only share customer managed CMKs. So if I go to create key, Let's create a symmetric key. Let's give this a name. Just call it demo. I won't add any tags. It's not really required for this demonstration. Now here is where we can define key administrators. So I'll just put myself as an administrator, then click on next. And now here we can define the key usage permissions. So this is who can actually use the key to perform cryptographic operations. So you can select as many people as you need to. And you can also add other AWS accounts here. But I don't want to do this. I want to show you how to do it by editing the key policy. Just in case you have existing CMKs that are already created, the way you have to do it is by editing the key policy. So I want to do it that way. So I've just added a couple of users there to show you can add more than one. Now here's the key policy that it's created. So we have that section at the top that's automatically created, the enable IAM user permissions, and it's added the root account of this account, and it's given it full access to KMS. Next, we have our access for key administrators, and I only selected myself. And here are all the actions to perform administrative actions against the CMK. Then as we go down, these are the users who can use the key to perform these cryptographic functions. And then this area at the bottom is for anyone who needs to create grants. So it automatically adds any users of the key to be able to create grants as well. So let's finish that. Okay, so we have our key here. So if I just select the key, we can go into it. It's generated an ARN on the key, which we're going to need soon. Down here we have our key policy. So let's switch to the policy view because we need to edit this. And then go across to edit. So the area that I'm interested in is the users. I don't want to add any more key administrators. I want the allow use of the key section. So I'm going to add in another user. So let me just add in the details. And it's in the other account. So I'm putting in the details of my other account. Just make sure I get this number right. 3569. No, I didn't. 0312. It's getting late here. It's now midnight, so I do apologize. 0312 8354. Okay. And it's a user called AWS Meetup. Okay, so what I've done here, I've edited the key policy and I've allowed this user, AWS Meetup, in a different account access to use this CMK. So if I save those changes, and if we scroll down here in the policy, we can see that it's added. So now what I want to do is go across to my other account. So I want to go across to this account and log in as this user. So AWS Meetup. Put in the password. So I'm going to start by going across to S3 to try and upload an object using that CMK. So I've got a bucket here called AWS Meetup. Upload, just select any file, a picture of a cloud. Go across to next. I'm just going to take the default options here. Now this is where we can select our class. I'm just going to leave it as standard, but if we scroll down here, we can select our KMS master key. Now I mentioned earlier, actually, just quickly, the S3 master key. So this is an AWS owned CMK. So when I select it, I can't select any CMK of my choice. It's managed by S3 only. Whereas if I select AWS customer master key, I can enter a custom KMS ARN. So this is where I need that ARN from here. So if I just copy that. So what I've said here is that I want to upload this object using SSE KMS using the key from my other account, and this is the ARN from the other account. Now this should fail because we haven't added IAM permissions to this user yet in this account. So if I upload that, there we have it. It says error, 100% failed, and view the details, it says it's forbidden. So that hasn't worked, and the reason is because we haven't delegated the permissions to this user in this account to use the key in the other account. So let's go to IAM now and grant some permissions for this user. So if I find the user, AWS Meetup, now I'm going to add an inline policy and go straight to the JSON tab. Now I've already created a policy here for ease rather than typing it all out. But what this policy does, so I've added a statement ID of allow use of CMK in account, and that's my other account where the CMK resides. The effect is allow, and it has these cryptographic operations. What I need to do though is add in the resource, which is the ARN of the key. So let's just copy that again. So this policy will be directly attached to the user AWS Meetup, and it will allow these cryptographic operations against this resource, which is the ARN of the CMK in account A. Review policy. Let's give it a name. Cross account. Create policy. And we can make sure it's added, and we can see it here. Okay, so now we've added IAM permissions to this user. We should now, in theory, be able to upload an object to S3 using the CMK from the other account. So let's try that same thing again. So let's upload an object. So again, standard storage class, AWS KMS, a custom ARN, and that's the ARN of the key in the other account. And if we say upload, success. And there we have it. So if we select on that object, we can see that we have the encryption is server-side encryption, AWS KMS, which is what we wanted. And we can see the KMS key ID here, which is the key in the other account. So that is how you share CMKs between accounts by updating the key policies and also permissions on the other user as well. So that kind of brings me to the end of my discussion on KMS. Like Carlos mentioned earlier, with regards to the book, so it's very focused on security. So if you're interested in security, like myself, in this book I cover KMS at a deeper level in chapter 16, managing key infrastructure. So these are all the different chapters in the book. It touches on all the points required for the certification. And I managed to speak to the publisher as well to get anyone connected a 20% off discount code on Amazon.com. So if you want to take a look, if you just put in this code at the top, 20 AWS Meetup, then you'll get 20% off. Just as a way of saying thanks for connecting and let me talk today. So thank you. It's been great chatting to you guys. I hope you managed to find something of interest there through KMS. And yeah, I can pass it back over to yourself, Carlos.
with a lot of doubts that I have with KMS. So it's really great and really deep dive. So thank you for this. And there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of use cases that people are just writing down the Twitch chat. That's really it really makes me happier every time I see a lot of comments about the what actually the topic is. So it's great. And I know they are doing it. Maybe they are doing it also for the giveaway. So, but let's go straight to that. Let's see about this. Yeah, I'm trying to just figure out the way we can just give away all these books, and also at the same time answering the questions and different things that came out, doubts of the people that really wants to
Yeah, I
know
mean,
more.
if there's a lot of questions to get through, then if you've kind of got contact details for these guys and a list of the questions, I can write an email to them to answer personally at a later
Of
stage.
course,
That's not a problem at all.
of course, of course. Let's do one thing. Yeah, I was writing on the Twitch chat or on the Facebook chat also about can tell us about and just KMS and ask you questions about that. So I have four of these use cases right now. I'm gonna read it quickly, so you can tell me what is the most interesting topic of these four, and whatever you tell me is the most important is going to be the first winner on the book, and then we figured out how to give away the another four. Is that okay for you?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, too much pressure for you to say, okay, I think this case is the most interesting, so that's the first winner. So let's do this.
Okay.
Okay. We have four technical questions. Let's go quickly with that. Luis from the chat is saying, I try to use KMS for encrypt my keys. I'm gonna put it on the screen for you. Give me a
Okay.
sec. Okay, that's it. I try to use KMS for encrypt my keys or of objects in the response in my APIs, but I got 216 and 292 characters in my result. It is possible to obtain short strings encrypted?
I'll need to check that, to be honest. I'll need to check that. So they're using KMS. So is this like objects as in S3 objects, and then they're uploading using APIs to S3? Is that doing it programmatically? Is that they're using KMS? Yeah, I'll need to check on that. I'll need to check on that. Screens froze. I'm not sure if we've lost Carlos. Yes, he's just sent me a message to say he's lost connection, so he'll be joining back in a second. But yeah, looking forward to giving away some copies of my book to you guys. And please, if you do get one of the free copies, or if you do purchase a copy, then please do leave a review on Amazon to let me know what you think. I'd be interested to hear any feedback you have. That'll be great. But yeah, it's been a great session today. Heard for some really interesting points. I really enjoyed the deep racer. Like I say, that's something I've not seen before, so that was fun to look at and fun to watch. Let me see if I can see any of these questions that have come in. Hi, Carlos.
Yeah, thank God. I don't know what is happening. Yeah, I'll tell everybody at the beginning of the session that maybe something's going to be wrong. I'm going to lose connection, and actually happened. So yeah, it's always happening.
Yeah, my connection's a bit flaky as well. So
yeah, I don't know what's happening today with StreamYard, but yeah, we're here again. So yeah, I hear about your answer about that, and wait there until I tell you the other twos, the other three options that we have, and you can tell what is the most interesting case.
okay.
Okay, so let me. Okay, the other is. I think I lost the comments when I lost the connection. Let's see. Okay, maybe I lost the content. Yeah, I lost the actual comments.
I see a question here about can I use KMS to help me comply
Twitch.
with
Okay,
encryption?
I have it in Twitch. Yeah, I have here. Okay, Gerardo, from Gerardo. It's hi Scott, nice to meet you. Can I use AWS KMS to help me comply with the encryption and key management requirements in the PCI Data Security Standard, PCI DSS?
I'm almost 100% sure you can. Yeah, because it's KMS is one of there's their main encryption service along with Cloud HSM. But yes, I'm almost certain that it can be used with PCI.
Okay, great. And that your answer, Gerardo. And we have additional question for Andre. Is saying, hi, hi, Stuart. I have a question for you. What are your recommendations for implementing HSM? Now, I mean, it's related to customer managed keys. No, HSM in a fintech startup.
So if you're probably
It is really
if it's fintech, then if it's fintech, then you're going to want encryption kind of at its max. And Cloud HSM allows you more control over your keys and the actual key material. The more control is passed from AWS over to you when you use a HSM. So it might even be a requirement that you need to use a HSM for your encryption rather than KMS, which is more of an AWS owned and managed centralized service. So yeah, that's one of the main differences, is that the Cloud HSM service gives you a lot more control over your cryptographic key material.
Great. Okay, and I think
there's some interesting questions coming through.
Yeah, there are no basic questions. I think our audience really knows about security. Okay, okay, that's it. I think that's it. Sorry if
Cool.
if I cannot read. Oh, I have the last one. How can you integrate Cognito and KMS?
Cognito with KMS, I would have to check, but I know KMS integrates with a wide range of services. Let me just check now.
Okay, great.
Let's have a look, see if I can find anything quickly.
while you are searching for that, we have a okay. Let me. Okay, so we have a last question.
Yep, sure.
Yeah, the people are are inspiring right now. Okay, question. Can I perform deterministic encryption with KMS? This is from Raul.
I think it does. I think that refers to having the same ciphertext each time that the key is generated. So I think it does.
Okay, great. And we have like this is the fourth question, right? Okay. Deterministic encryption KMS, yes. From the Luke Skywalker. That's the name. Luke Skywalker. I think it's.
And I was just looking at Cognito
Okay.
with KMS.
So,
and
what do you think about these questions?
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think is the winner for this first
The winner for
giveaway?
this, I really like the question. Now, don't hate me, everyone, for not thinking the right one. I really like the question about the cloud HSM and the fintech over KMS. Yeah, I like that.
Wow. That's I gotta say in Spanish for everybody. So, el primer ganador del libro es del que preguntó acerca de la fintech. Así que eso sí realmente me sorprendió. Es Stuart's fault. So, tell him about that.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I don't know how you want to raffle off the other ones, whether if you just kind of maybe, I don't know, maybe pick someone who asked the first question about Deep Racer or something, you know, just something totally random.
Yeah, great. And well, continue with that. Maybe can you go inside a little bit more about these questions? I think the people who is just writing their use case and trying to just go more deeper, I think are the most interesting, are the most who really require a book, right?
Yeah, I mean, and if you haven't played with KMS, if you haven't used KMS, like I say, it's not an expensive service to start getting used with. You know, if you create your CMKs, it's $1 a month, and then there's like so many thousands of API requests with that key before you're charged like 2 or 3 cents. You know, so if you've not used it before, go into the console, have a little play, create some customer managed CMKs, and then just kind of do what I've done. Go into your own S3 bucket and try and upload using one of your own customer master keys, and just get familiar with it, understand how it works, and go through the key policy. I know that there was quite a lot of lines in that policy, but it's broken down very easily between your key administrators, your users, the grants, etc. And it's just building that confidence and understanding of how the key policy works, how your CMK works, and how it all just fits together with other services. Actually, I just wanted to show you that infographic of all the different S3 encryption mechanisms. If I could just share the screen again, just bear me 1 second.
Of course.
So can you see my screen? Can you see my screen now? So here we have SSE S3. So this was with the managed key, the S3 managed key. So it goes through the process there. Do you see? Can you see my screen? Could you see my screen then? Hello.
I think yeah, I cannot see it, but actually in Twitch, yeah, everybody can see it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what's happening.
Let me do it again then. I'll share my screen again. Okay, so I've shared it again. So again, this is the URL. If you want to check this out, then just take a look. So it will go through a very simple process and the different steps involved for each of the different S3 encryption mechanisms. So we have SSE S3, SSE KMS, which is the process I run through during the presentation, SSE C, which is server-side encryption with customer managed keys. And then we also have client-side encryption. Again, it runs through the same process, client-side encryption using KMS managed keys, and also client-side encryption with customer managed keys. So if you kind of want to get more into encryption and understand how it works, then take a look at this infographic. It might help you understand exactly what's going on and where. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that because I mentioned it during the presentation. So I just wanted to show people exactly what it looked like.
Okay, great. I having troubles with my connection, so actually I didn't want to interrupt you.
No worries at all.
I don't know what's happening. Actually, I'm really calm, but when I lost connection, right, I go myself crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Is going down, Facebook going down.
I can imagine. Yeah. So, but like I say, in the book, I go into KMS in more detail. I also talk about Cloud HSM as well and the differences between them. I think it's 500 and something pages. Yeah. So there's a lot of topics in there across AWS. And like I say, it's kind of geared around the security specialty. But even if you're just interested in AWS security as a whole, it covers kind of infrastructure security, host security, application security, all across the board, login and monitoring. So yeah, if you want to check it out, feel free. And if anyone does manage to win a free copy tonight, awesome. Or like I say, you can put in that code into Amazon.com and get 20% off all you guys that have joined. So
okay, great, Stuart. I know it's later, but I think we're just finishing in around 2 or 5 minutes also. So just to the final things. Yeah, I'm gonna give a free. Yeah, I'm gonna give 2 more copies, maybe, or 3 more copies about what is the most interesting question that you heard tonight. So, yep. And also I want you to ask a question, only one question for everybody, and the first one is to answer correctly in the chat is going to be the next winner. So actually,
okay.
Okay. So go.
Okay.
So go ahead.
How many different types of customer master keys are there? How many different types?
Okay. Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah.
Maybe
so how many different types of customer master keys? So how many different CMKs are there in KMS?
Okay, we have, yeah, that was really fast answer from Kairos Net Peru. Is 3 types.
Yes, correct.
Okay, we have Kairos Net Peru.
Yep.
The next winner. Okay, it was really fast. You actually you didn't finish the question, and that's 3.
Yeah, okay. I'll tell you what. If for another free copy, I'm going to list 2 of them, and someone has to tell me which one's missing. So we have customer managed CMK, AWS managed CMK, and what's the missing one? So we have customer managed, AWS managed, And then, yes, Yasser583, AWS owned. There you go.
Yeah, Jaser.
Another winner.
So Jaser is the third winner.
Yeah.
Wow, really fast, right?
That was fast.
Really
People
fast.
were listening.
Yeah, that was fast. Yeah. Please give me doing a few screenshots. So Jaser, we have Andre, and we have Kairos. So
yeah.
there's 3 copies right now.
Awesome.
Okay.
Should we do another one?
Do you have in mind an additional question? Yeah. Let's do it.
It's, do I have another question? Yes. When a CMK generates data encryption keys, is it the encrypted data key or the plain text data key that performs the encryption?
Oh, that was a tough one.
So when a request is made to a CMK to generate 2 data encryption keys, a plain text is created and an encrypted data key. Which one out of those 2 keys performs the encryption of data?
Let's see. Nobody?
So it's either the plain text data key
I think you
or
need
the
a
encrypted
difficult
data key.
way. Yeah. We have no answer. Let's try another one. Maybe
Okay,
not so
let's try
difficult.
So in the key policy, there's 2 categories of permissions. We have the key users, and then there's another section in the policy that controls the rotation of the key and the key deletion. What are they called? So the key users perform cryptographic operations, and then the key something perform management of the key.
Okay, maybe the actual.
Maybe it's getting lost in translation.
Yeah, I think the same. Oh, so I missed a few seconds ago. I don't know what happened, but could you repeat the question if you made the last questions?
You know what? Someone said grants. It's not grants. It's not resources. You have the key users and the key something, and it's that group of people that manage the key, such as deleting the key, rotating the key. They have more power. They're the key.
Omar,
it's in the key policy. It's in the key policy, but which group of people are they? Not the key users, not the grants. There's one left. I'm going to give everyone a big clue now. They perform administrative functions. They are the key. No, not the owners. No, it's in the key policy. So the key policy is broken down into 4 different sections. We have the key users, the grants, the IAM policy use, and the admins. That's right. There you go. Why need us? Yeah, it's the key administrators. Right. They can delete the key and rotate the key, etc. So yeah, nice one. Well done.
Well done. So we have 4 copies, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We have 4 right now. Okay. For the last one, we're going to do any questions. Remember the use cases before?
I think so. I'm trying to. Yeah.
Yeah. About the I gonna remember that the KMS short characters. That's
Yeah.
one of the
Sure.
things to make it shorter. That's the other thing was I think the PCI compliance thing,
Yeah.
and I can't remember. Oh my God.
You know, maybe go with the
And I think
short.
the last one is going to be about the deterministic.
Maybe go with the short string, because that was the first question that come up, and that's something I need to check on. So let's go with that one.
Wow, great. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to Luis. So I think it's going to Luis. And they cannot say anything to me, right? Because the Stuart Scott chose every answer, every question.
You're blaming me.
No, that's something really funny. Yeah, I'm like a judge here. I'm like a judge, and I'm going to pick any of the answers or any one of you guys. So that's really fun, really fun, Stuart. Thank you very much.
No, pleasure.
And,
If anyone wants to learn more about AWS, not just security but anything, then come and take a look at Cloud Academy. We've got tons on there across all different categories. So, and you'll probably see my face on there on the courses. So, yeah, it'd be great to speak.
Please, yeah, of course. Please share with me your contact, your email, Twitter, to give the community, and also your presentation. Yeah, it was great, really great. And also, what are we going to do with the winners, Stuart? How can we just give the books to them?
If you can pass the contact details on to me, then I'll collate that and pass it on to the publishers and get them to send the book out, etc.
Right.
We'll sort something out there.
Right.
So yeah, well we'll get that sorted next week. So if you can take the contact details, etc., email address or anything like that, then we'll go from there.
Okay. What are the contacts you need? It's going to be ebooks or physical books.
Gonna try and get the print books. So that's what I'm hoping for. But failing that, we'll certainly get ebooks. But yeah, I want to try and get the print books. So it's just a bit nicer to have. But yeah. But awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
Great, Stuart. Great, Stuart. I'm gonna send you then all the details. You know, the address, the numbers, all the things you need for that, and well, you can tell me then, or a few days after, what are the final decisions if it's going to be ebooks only or physical. So no problem. I think we are ready. Oh, it was a long one, but really interesting one. And finishing this kind of.
So yeah, please don't.
It was great. It was great. Really, I know it's actually for you. It's after midnight or not?
Yeah, it's 25 to 1 in the morning. So apologies if my head's not quite with it. So yeah, it's been good fun. It's been good fun.
I understand, no problem.
I appreciate everyone kind of jumping in with questions and just leaving comments. So yeah,
let's
thank you very much. Awesome.
Of course, Stuart. Yeah, we really enjoy your presentation. You're discussing with you about the security AWS services. Really, really interesting to have you again in the next month. And I hope you have a great time here. This audience. Imagine having this in situ, right? Like being physically here and discussing all the things. It will be great. Maybe next year. Who knows? But awesome. Thank you again.
No, thank you, and thanks to everyone's comments. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your questions, and yeah, reach out to me on Twitter at Stuart_A_Scott. or you can find me on LinkedIn. Yeah, just come check out, connect, ask me any questions. It'd be great to hear from you guys.
Great, Stuart. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
And well, have a great night also.
Yeah,
So,
you too, guys. Speak to you again soon. Take care. Cheers. Bye.
This is love you. Bye bye, Stuart.
Bye.